Global Fried Chicken Secrets: The Untold Story. Part 1. The Beginning: A Crispy Mystery. You've been eating fried chicken all wrong. Seriously, forget everything you thought you knew. That's a bold statement, but it's true, because behind every golden, crunchy bite of fried chicken lies a deeper story, one that stretches across continents, centuries, and cultures. The dish we love today didn't just appear in a Kentucky kitchen or on the streets of Seoul. It has roots that reach far into history, connecting people from Scotland to West Africa, from Japan to the Caribbean, each perfecting their own way of frying chicken. Imagine this: a Scottish immigrant in the American South in the 18th century, lowering seasoned chicken into hot fat for the first time. At the same moment, across the Atlantic, West African cooks were already frying chicken with a rich blend of spices, passing recipes through generations as a way to preserve tradition, memory, and taste. These two culinary worlds collided, and from that fusion came one of the world's most irresistible comfort foods. But here's the twist: fried chicken didn't stop there. As colonization, migration, and trade spread people across the globe, so too did the art of frying chicken. Every country it touched adapted it to their own culture, spices, and palate. What began as a humble, practical way to cook meat became a cultural symbol of survival, of joy, of community gatherings, and even of rebellion. Today, when you bite into Karaage in Japan, hot chicken in Nashville, or ayam goreng in Indonesia, you're not just eating fried chicken, you're tasting history, migration, and identity. Each crispy coating hides a tale of struggle, adaptation, and celebration. And yet, so few people know these hidden stories. We assume fried chicken is universal, maybe even simple. But in reality, it's one of the most globally reimagined dishes in history, each variation carrying whispers of heritage, secrets of grandmothers' kitchens, and the echoes of faraway lands. In this journey, we'll uncover the secrets of global fried chicken, the forgotten recipes, the hidden cultural meanings, and the surprising connections you never knew existed. From the street food stalls of Lagos to the neon-lit izakayas of Tokyo, from Caribbean beach shacks to American soul food diners, we'll discover how fried chicken became more than just food. It became a story told through flavor. So buckle up, because the truth might just change the way you see and taste fried chicken forever. Up next, we'll meet the characters and cultural forces that shaped fried chicken into the global icon it is today. Who were the cooks, the travelers, the rebels who made this dish unforgettable? Part 2. The characters and cultural foundations. If fried chicken is a global story, then the heroes of this tale are not just chefs and restaurants, but everyday people, travelers, and entire communities who carried their recipes across oceans and generations. Let's start in West Africa, where chicken was already a staple long before Europeans arrived. There, frying meat wasn't just a method of cooking, it was a way of infusing flavors with chili, ginger, and native spices, creating dishes that would later echo through the diaspora. When enslaved Africans were brought to the Americas, they carried with them not only their resilience, but also their food traditions. Though often forced to cook in the kitchens of their oppressors, they blended African spices with European frying techniques, giving birth to the uniquely Southern style of fried chicken we know today. What was once survival food slowly transformed into a symbol of comfort and community. Meanwhile, in Scotland, frying chicken in fat was already a familiar practice. Scottish immigrants arriving in the American South introduced their methods, often simpler and less seasoned than African cooking. The blending of these traditions created something entirely new, a dish deeply Southern, rich with spice, and inseparable from African American culture. It wasn't just food, it became an identity marker, a taste of home even in the harshest conditions. But fried chicken's journey didn't end in America. Across the Pacific and Japan, fried chicken took on a whole new life. During the early 20th century, Karaage was born, a delicate method of marinating chicken in soy sauce, sake, and ginger, then frying it into light, crisp perfection. Unlike the hearty Southern crunch, Karaage was about balance: crispy outside, juicy inside, with flavors that paired beautifully with rice and sake. It became not just a dish, but a part of Japanese social culture, enjoyed in izakayas, festivals, and even home kitchens. Travel further to Indonesia and Malaysia, and you'll find ayam goreng, deep-fried chicken marinated with turmeric, lemongrass, and galangal. Unlike the Western versions, it's often fried twice, creating an intense golden color and aromatic crust. To locals, it isn't just delicious, it's an expression of heritage, tied to the spices that made the region a center of global trade for centuries. And then there's the Caribbean, where fried chicken was infused with heat and rhythm. Marinated in fiery peppers, thyme, and allspice, the dish became a staple at street festivals and family gatherings. Every bite carried the influence of African roots, European techniques, and Caribbean flair, proving that food travels, adapts, and reinvents itself depending on the land and the people who embrace it. Each culture, each community, added its own twist. Some coated chicken with flour, others with rice starch or breadcrumbs. Some used fiery marinades, while others relied on slow seasoning passed down like sacred knowledge. What remained constant was this. Fried chicken became more than sustenance. It was memory, migration, and identity on a plate. When we peel back the crispy layers, we don't just see chicken. We see history. We see mothers and grandmothers teaching children in kitchens. We see travelers bringing home new spices. We see resilience in the face of hardship, creativity in times of scarcity, and celebration in times of joy. But how did this humble, adaptable dish move from kitchens and street stalls to become a global icon? How did fried chicken rise to fame, crossing from family tradition into mainstream culture? That's where the turning point comes in, the moment fried chicken hit its historical climax. Part 3. The turning point of fried chicken. History often changes with a single spark. For fried chicken, that spark came in the 20th century, when two powerful forces collided: industrialization and cultural identity. In the early 1900s, fried chicken was still considered a special occasion dish in the American South. It took time to season, fry, and perfect, often reserved for Sunday gatherings, church picnics, or celebrations. But the world was changing. The Great Migration saw millions of African Americans moving north, bringing their food traditions with them. Fried chicken began appearing in new cities: Chicago, Detroit, New York, where it became both a comfort food and a symbol of heritage for those far from their roots. Then came the commercial revolution of fast food. Enter Colonel Harlan Sanders, better known as Colonel Sanders. His secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices, pressure-fried to perfection, transformed fried chicken from a family dish into a global brand. Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, didn't just sell chicken. It sold nostalgia, Southern charm, and a promise of consistency in every crispy bite. By the 1950s and 60s, fried chicken was no longer confined to small kitchens. It was traveling across America, and soon, across the world. But while KFC was expanding, something else was brewing. In the streets of Nashville, Tennessee, a fiery revolution was born: hot chicken. Legend has it a man named Thornton Prince cheated on his girlfriend. To get revenge, she cooked him chicken doused in blistering hot cayenne pepper. But instead of punishing him, the dish became a hit. Prince loved it, and eventually opened a restaurant serving what we now know as Nashville Hot Chicken. What began as an act of revenge became a movement, redefining fried chicken as bold, daring, and unapologetically spicy. Meanwhile, across the Pacific in post-war Japan, Karaage fried chicken became a national obsession. It wasn't just food, it was comfort in a time of rebuilding. Japanese families recovering from hardship embraced fried chicken as a treat, pairing it with beer and laughter at izakayas. By the 1970s, thanks to clever marketing, fried chicken even became associated with Christmas in Japan, with KFC's Christmas bucket turning the holiday into a uniquely Japanese tradition. And then came globalization. American fast food chains planted roots across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, but instead of erasing local traditions, they often inspired new ones. In South Korea, chefs took fried chicken to another level, double frying it for maximum crunch, glazing it with sweet and spicy sauces, and pairing it with beer in the now iconic chemek culture. In the Philippines, fried chicken blended with garlic rice and gravy, becoming a national comfort food in its own right. In Ghana and Nigeria, fried chicken became a festival staple, infused with suya spices and served with fried plantains. What happened was remarkable. Fried chicken transformed from a regional specialty into a global icon of cultural fusion. Each country didn't just adopt fried chicken, they reinvented it, redefined it, and made it their own. But this global boom also raised deeper questions. As fried chicken spread, it carried with it both pride and controversy. In the United States, for example, fried chicken was tangled in painful racial stereotypes, often weaponized against African American identity. At the same time, it was embraced as a beloved soul food tradition, representing resilience, joy, and cultural pride. The dish lived in two worlds at once, commercial and personal, celebrated and misunderstood. This was the turning point. Fried chicken was no longer just a meal. It became a stage where history, identity, business, and culture collided. But what happened after the boom? How did societies react to this worldwide obsession? And what lasting changes did fried chicken bring to our tables and our traditions? Part 4. The consequences and social reactions. When fried chicken exploded across the globe, it didn't just change dining tables, it reshaped societies. It carried with it new opportunities, new debates, and even new divisions. In the United States, fried chicken straddled two identities. On one hand, it became a symbol of Southern hospitality, a dish that brought families together on Sundays, that evoked grandmothers' kitchens, that represented resilience and celebration within African American culture. On the other hand, it was weaponized through harmful stereotypes, reducing a rich food heritage into a shallow caricature. For many African Americans, reclaiming fried chicken as soul food was both an act of pride and defiance, a way to transform pain into cultural power. Restaurants, cookbooks, and family traditions reframed fried chicken not as a symbol of oppression, but as one of creativity, endurance, and community. In Asia, the reaction was different. When KFC opened in Japan, South Korea, and China, fried chicken was quickly embraced, but not passively. Local chefs adapted it, pushing it to new heights. In Korea, the double fry technique and spicy sauces elevated chicken into a culinary art form. Chimek culture, chicken plus beer, became so powerful that it shaped nightlife, dating, and even sports culture. In Japan, fried chicken became entwined with holidays, marketing campaigns, and pop culture, showing how a foreign dish could become domestically Japanese. But global success also sparked cultural debates. Critics asked, was fried chicken being Americanized, or was it a global dish from the very beginning? After all, West Africa had been frying chicken long before the American South. In places like Nigeria and Ghana, fried chicken wasn't an import. It was already embedded in celebrations, weddings, and street festivals. To many, the global boom wasn't about adoption, but recognition, a reminder that their culinary traditions had always mattered. And then came the health debate. As fried chicken chains spread, so did concerns about fast food culture. By the 1980s and 90s, nutritionists warned against high-calorie, greasy meals. Governments and schools debated whether fried chicken represented comfort or risk. Yet even as critics condemned it, the dish persisted, because for most people, fried chicken wasn't about calories, but about comfort, memory, and identity. In the Caribbean and Latin America, fried chicken became a festival food, served at street corners alongside music, dancing, and community gatherings. But it also sparked a quiet rivalry between global chains and local vendors. Was the future of fried chicken in multinational franchises, or in the hands of family stalls and neighborhood kitchens that had been frying chicken for generations? Interestingly, the answer turned out to be both. Chains like KFC, Popeyes, and Jollibee thrived, but so did local variations. In fact, the global boom often boosted local pride, encouraging chefs to double down on their heritage recipes. From Jamaican jerk-seasoned fried chicken to Filipino-style crispy fried chicken with gravy, societies responded by blending the global with the local, ensuring that tradition didn't just survive, it thrived. The consequence of all this? Fried chicken was no longer just food. It was a mirror of society, revealing tensions between tradition and globalization, pride and stereotype, health and indulgence, local roots and international fame. And yet, beneath all those debates, fried chicken continued to do what it always had: bring people together. Whether at a Sunday church picnic, a Tokyo Christmas table, a Lagos street party, or a Seoul bar, fried chicken became a language everyone understood, a dish that said, "You're welcome here. Sit down, share this with me." But beyond society's reactions, what lessons does fried chicken leave us? What cultural and historical values does it carry into the future? And what legacies remain alive today? Part 5. Lessons, Legacy, and Lasting Values. When we look at fried chicken today, it's easy to see just a crispy, golden comfort food. But beneath the crunch lies centuries of history, migration, struggle, and creativity. The lessons it leaves behind are not just culinary, they're cultural, social, and even philosophical. Lesson 1. Food as survival, food as resistance. For African Americans in the South, fried chicken was once tied to survival. Chickens were one of the few livestock enslaved people could keep, and frying meat was a way to preserve it longer. Out of necessity came creativity. Spices, techniques, and traditions that elevated a humble bird into something extraordinary. Over time, fried chicken became more than sustenance. It became a symbol of resilience, a dish that carried dignity in times when dignity was denied. Lesson 2. Adaptation creates identity. Across the world, fried chicken adapted differently. In Japan, Karaage represents lightness and refinement. In Korea, it represents nightlife and community. In the Caribbean, it embodies boldness, spice, and celebration. In America, it carries both pain and pride. The legacy is clear. Food doesn't just adapt to ingredients. It adapts to people's lives, reflecting who they are and what they value. Lesson 3. Globalization doesn't erase culture. It expands it. When KFC or Popeyes entered new markets, many feared local traditions would vanish. But instead, fried chicken became a canvas for cultural expression. In the Philippines, fried chicken with garlic rice is distinctly Filipino. In Nigeria, suya spiced chicken tastes nothing like its American cousin, but both are proudly fried chicken. The legacy here is profound. Global food doesn't destroy local identity. It often strengthens it. Lesson 4. Food is memory. Ask anyone about fried chicken and they won't just describe the flavor. They'll tell you about the moment. The grandmother's kitchen, the church picnic, the family reunion, the street vendor's stall, the festival night with friends. Fried chicken's lasting value lies not only in taste but in memory. It's the sound of laughter, the smell of oil and spices, the warmth of belonging. The legacy today. Fried chicken has left behind more than recipes. It has left us with cultural traditions that continue to evolve. Soul food restaurants in the U.S. keep alive the stories of African American heritage. Izakayas in Japan remind us how food can rebuild community after hardship. Street stalls in Lagos, Kingston, or Manila show us that food is not just for eating. It's for gathering, celebrating, and sharing identity. At its heart, fried chicken's legacy is about connection. It connects generations, grandmothers to grandchildren. It connects cultures, African spices to Scottish methods, American soul food to Korean double-fry perfection. And it connects people, because no matter where you go, fried chicken is one of the few foods that always brings people together around a table. It reminds us of a simple truth. Food isn't just fuel. Food is history. Food is identity. Food is love. But if fried chicken carries such a powerful legacy, what about the future? How will it continue to evolve in a world of changing tastes, health debates, and cultural shifts? Part 6. The Future and the Open. Question: We've traced fried chicken's journey from ancient kitchens in West Africa and Scottish hearths through the soul food tables of the American South into the neon-lit izakayas of Japan and the lively streets of Seoul. We've seen how it became not just a dish, but a cultural force, a mirror of identity, resilience, and celebration. But what does the future hold for fried chicken? In today's world, 3 powerful trends are shaping its next chapter: health, innovation, and sustainability. First, the health debate grows louder. With rising concerns over obesity and heart disease, fried chicken often finds itself at the center of criticism. Yet chefs and food innovators are responding. Air fryers are making their way into homes, promising crispy chicken with less oil. Plant-based alternatives are emerging, with companies crafting chicken from soy, pea protein, or even lab-grown cells. Will the future of fried chicken be meatless, healthier, or entirely reinvented? Second, innovation is pushing fried chicken into new territories. Michelin-starred chefs are experimenting with tempura-like batters, molecular gastronomy techniques, and spice blends that fuse cuisines. What was once street food is now gracing fine dining menus, proving that fried chicken can be both humble and haute cuisine. Technology is also reshaping how we eat it. Delivery apps, ghost kitchens, and viral social media trends mean fried chicken travels faster than ever, reaching global audiences in real time. Third, there is sustainability. As the world grapples with climate change and ethical farming, the way we raise chickens and cook them is under scrutiny. Will the fried chicken of the future be sourced from regenerative farms designed to protect the planet? Will communities embrace heritage recipes while also rethinking the impact of mass production? The future of fried chicken may well be tied not just to taste, but to responsibility. And yet, beyond debates about health and sustainability, fried chicken's true future may lie in something far simpler: its ability to connect people. No matter how it evolves, whether double-fried, air-fried, or plant-based, the essence of fried chicken will remain the same. It's a dish meant to be shared, to bring laughter to a table, to carry memory across generations. Because fried chicken has always been about more than food. It is survival, culture, pride, and joy. Crispy, golden proof that the simplest meals can carry the weight of entire histories. And now we arrive at the biggest question of all. We've uncovered the roots, the characters, the turning points, the consequences, and the legacies. But is this truly the full story of fried chicken? Or are there still untold secrets hiding in kitchens waiting to be discovered? Because the truth is, fried chicken isn't finished. Its story is still being written. Every time someone drops a piece of chicken into hot oil, every time a new twist is born in a street stall or restaurant, every time it brings people together around a table. But ask yourself this: what will the next chapter taste like? And more importantly, is this really the end of the story? Or just the beginning of another crispy revolution?